The rain drummed softly against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Marcus Wellington's penthouse office. From the 40th floor, the city lights below looked like scattered diamonds on black velvet. He sat behind his mahogany desk, fingers steepled, watching the droplets race down the glass. At 35, Marcus had built an empire from nothing. Wellington Industries was his life's work, but lately something felt missing. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," he called, not turning from the window. "You missed dinner again." The voice belonged to Sarah Chen, his childhood friend and now head of his charitable foundation. She entered carrying 2 cups of coffee, her sensible heels clicking against the marble floor. Sarah had been the one constant in his life through boarding school, college, and the grueling years of building his company. "Sorry," Marcus said, finally turning to face her. "Lost track of time." He accepted the coffee gratefully, noting how Sarah's dark hair caught the lamplight. She wore a simple navy dress that somehow made her look both professional and approachable. After 20 years of friendship, he still marveled at how she managed to be the most genuine person he knew in a world full of pretense. Sarah settled into the leather chair across from his desk. "The Peterson Foundation called today. They want to discuss the new children's wing for the hospital." "That's good news." Marcus sipped his coffee, studying his friend's face. Something had been weighing on him for months, a conversation he'd been avoiding. But tonight, with the rain creating a cocoon of privacy around them, it felt like the right time. "Sarah," he began, then stopped. "How did one approach such a delicate subject? What is it?" She leaned forward, concern evident in her warm brown eyes. "You've been distant lately." Marcus stood and walked to the window again. The city seemed peaceful from this height, removed from the chaos below. "I've been thinking about legacy," he said slowly. "About what happens to everything I've built. You're only 35, Marcus." "You have plenty of time to figure that out." He turned back to her. "Do one. My parents died young. My grandfather built this company, and I've expanded it beyond his wildest dreams. But when I'm gone, what then? I have no family, no heir." Sarah's expression grew thoughtful. She understood him better than anyone, had watched him pour his heart into his work while sacrificing personal relationships. "Have you thought about starting a family?" "That's just it," Marcus said, returning to his chair. "I've dated plenty of women, but they all want something from me. Money, status, connections. I can't trust their motives. I don't know if they love me or what I represent." The rain continued its gentle percussion against the windows. Sarah wrapped her hands around her coffee cup, seemingly lost in thought. "So what are you saying?" Marcus took a deep breath. This was the moment that would either strengthen their friendship or potentially destroy it. "I want a child, Sarah, an heir. But I want it to be with someone I trust completely, someone who knows me for who I really am, not what I own." Sarah's eyebrows rose slightly, but she remained silent, waiting for him to continue. "I want you to consider having my child," he said quietly. "Not as lovers, but as friends. I'd provide for everything, the best medical care, a generous arrangement for you and the baby. You could continue running the foundation. Nothing between us would have to change except—" "Except everything," Sarah finished softly. "I know it's a lot to ask. I know it's unconventional. But I trust you more than anyone in the world. You're intelligent, kind, principled. Any child of yours would be extraordinary." Sarah stood and walked to the window, her reflection ghost-like against the dark glass. The silence stretched between them, filled only by the sound of rain. Marcus watched her, his heart hammering. He'd risked their friendship on this desperate hope, this need for something real in his carefully constructed world. Finally, she spoke without turning around. "What if I said yes?" Marcus felt a surge of hope. "Then we'd figure it out together, like we always do." Sarah turned back to him, her expression unreadable. "There's something I need to tell you first. Something I should have told you years ago. What is it?" She returned to her chair, her movements careful and deliberate. "You assume I single quotes am ... inexperienced, that I've never been with anyone." Marcus nodded. In all their years of friendship, Sarah had never mentioned serious relationships. She'd always seemed focused on her work, content with their friendship and her quiet life. You're wrong, she said simply. I wasn't saving myself for marriage or waiting for the right person. I was waiting for you. The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. He stared at her, processing what she'd just revealed. Sarah, I've been in love with you since college, she continued, her voice steady despite the magnitude of her confession. Every woman you dated, every relationship that didn't work out. I watched from the sidelines, hoping someday you'd see me differently, but you never did. Marcus felt the world shift around him. How had he been so blind? Sarah, with her quiet strength and unwavering support, had been there through everything. She'd celebrated his successes and comforted him through failures, never asking for anything in return. I had chances, Sarah went on. Good men who wanted to marry me, have families with me. But I couldn't say yes because my heart belonged to someone who saw me only as a friend. Sarah, I had no idea. Of course you didn't. I made sure of that. I was terrified that if you knew, I'd lose even your friendship. Marcus stood abruptly, pacing to the window and back. The rain had intensified, turning the view into abstract patterns of light and shadow. All these years I've been your best friend while dreaming of being more. So, when you asked me to have your child, to give you the family you want while remaining just friends? Sarah's voice finally wavered. It breaks my heart. The silence that followed was different from before, heavy with 20 years of unspoken feelings and missed opportunities. Marcus looked at Sarah, really looked at her, and saw what he'd been blind to for so long. The way she always anticipated his needs, the gentleness in her touch when she handed him coffee, the way her eyes lit up when he walked into a room. I'm an idiot, he said finally. No, Sarah said softly. You're just a man who's forgotten how to trust his heart. Marcus knelt beside her chair, taking her hands in his. They were trembling slightly, warm and familiar. Sarah, I need you to know something. When I imagined having a child, when I thought about who I wanted to share that with, it wasn't just about trust or friendship. Deep down, it was about love. I just didn't recognize it. Tears gathered in Sarah's eyes. Marcus, I've spent so many years protecting myself, building walls, that I couldn't see what was right in front of me. You're not just my best friend. You're the woman I want to build a life with, have children with, grow old with. Do you mean that? I've never meant anything more, he stood, pulling her up with him. I've been a fool, Sarah, but if you'll let me, I want to start over. Not as friends arranging a business transaction, but as two people who love each other figuring out their future together. Sarah smiled through her tears. What about your concerns? About women wanting you for your money? You've had every opportunity to take advantage of our friendship, and you never have. You've seen me at my worst and stayed. You celebrate my successes without jealousy and comfort my failures without judgment. If that isn't love, I don't know what is. The rain had softened to a gentle patter against the windows. The city lights below seemed warmer now, more welcoming. Marcus cupped Sarah's face in his hands, wiping away her tears with his thumbs. So, he said softly, would you consider having my child? Not as my friend, but as the woman I love, the woman I want to marry? Sarah's smile was radiant. I thought you'd never ask. When Marcus kissed her, it was like coming home after a long journey. Everything he'd been searching for, trust, love, genuine connection, had been there all along, patient and constant as the friend who'd never left his side. Outside, the rain continued to fall, washing the city clean and promising new beginnings. Inside the penthouse office, where so many business deals had been made, the most important merger of all was just beginning, not of companies, but of hearts that had been waiting 20 years to find each other. As they held each other in the lamplight, Marcus realized that sometimes the greatest treasures aren't the ones you seek, but the ones that have been beside you all along, waiting for you to recognize their worth. And Sarah, who had spent years hoping for this moment, finally understood that love isn't about timing, it's about faith, patience, and the courage to reveal your heart when the moment is right. The Wellington legacy would continue, but it would be built on something far more valuable than money or power. It would be built on love, the quiet, steady kind that grows stronger with time and transforms everything it touches.